Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Back for another episode of the Draxx Life Podcast, where we'll chat about some of the weird and the wondrous. Let's get to the show. Yeah, I mean, we're getting right into this, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, it's another episode. I had to hit record because we're just like so much good stuff is just being discussed.
Yeah, we lost a good chunk
off
there.
camera, and I wanted to capture it. Right? Yeah, no, I mean, dude, that's the thing. Like all of the, I'm for those listening. Sorry, you're kind of like entering the conversation
It's like
from
midway.
the middle, but it's all right. This is like the whole thing is like
What's
you're
that
eavesdropping
Shakespearean-
on two guys talking at the bar.
Yeah, what's that Shakespeare tactic where you just get dropped into the middle of the story? It's like men something. I can't remember.
I don't know. I should. I did read Shakespeare for a while.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, dude, I think it's just the interesting thing. It's that we live in a world now where, like, because there is no gatekeeper as far as advertising is concerned, right? It's just interesting that you're seeing like there was the day of the businessman, or the entrepreneur that was the hidden entrepreneur, the business and the brand. Like that's what you knew, and you had no idea who the CEO was. They were like a nameless person in the background that you might never know their name. Like, did you know at one point the CEO of Coca-Cola when you were, a kid or your teenager drinking a Coke? Like,
No way.
No, you didn't, right? Now everything is like founder focused. Like that's the expression. So it's like that's why when you go on YouTube and all of this stuff, it's like you ask yourself the question of like, why is a billionaire? Don't you have better things to do than be posting a lot on Twitter or making like YouTube videos? Like you see these guys making like YouTube videos. Mark Andreessen is all over the place, like all these podcasts making, and it's like, dude, they're doing it for a reason. Like this is not, these people who have amassed these kinds of fortunes are not like casual people. They might try to act like that, but they're not, because to amass that, it takes like shrewdness, strategy, calculations, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the interesting thing with like YouTube. It's like when I see these billionaires on YouTube, I'm just like, what are you repping? Because that's why you're doing this. Like, there is a reason. It's not to do me any favors. It's literally to amass eyes so that you can divert those eyes to whatever that thing is that you're gonna have, either be promoting subtly or are quietly investing in in the background.
Yeah, or not so subtly. Exactly.
Correct. So I don't know. It's like I so often today I'm like scrolling through YouTube and it's just like you see a billionaire. Oh man, there's five in the headline. It's like 5 years left until like dot dot dot. They never explain what's coming. 6 years to amass as much money as you can before da 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 da. Or it's just like kind of, to me, I'm like, guys, shut the fuck up. Like, excuse my language, but like, get out of here, man. Why are you making people worried as if you can see into the future? And the reality is that no one can see into the future. Like that's something we try to like we like coin that on people and say, oh, a visionary. Yes, people are visionaries, but like I sometimes think that we like deify these humans and then think because they did one thing very, very well that now they are like the Oracle of Delphi and can predict 100 years into the future. And I just think it's all like marketing and branding, like trying to essentially con everyone. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you've basically described Hollywood, where all these rich people are trying to tell people how to behave, how to vote, what to do with the environment, what to do about whatever situation or subject you want to talk about. And people, because they revere them so much as a public figure, only because they like what they see on a television screen or a movie or a film screen, they have so much influence. And now, to your point, now it's becoming more internet based. So anything any wealthy person is like, oh, he must know what he's talking about. He's worth $4 billion. I'm gonna listen to that.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Well, and
they
it's kind
do
of
take
like,
advantage of that.
and we're kind of moving past the age of the celebrity, like the actor, and we're moving like founders are the next celebrity, right? Like
It's
Elon
true.
Musk is a celebrity, right?
He is.
Smart guy. I don't know the guy. I'm assuming he's a smart guy, but I don't know the inner workings of his life. There's probably areas that he has a lot of shortcomings, and it's like, and I'm just using him as a fill-in, but like you should be careful, just like with celebrities, like who you are trusting, because A, you're not in their best interest. Like you are not the person that they're doing these things for, and B, it's like, all right, you've amassed however many billions of dollars, but maybe you're a horrible husband. Maybe you are a horrible father. And like the ramifications of that relationship, like, and that shortcoming might have, ramifications that are 100 years from now. A great grandchild is affected because of your poor fault, like parenting skills. So again, it's just like, choose your choose your idols wisely. You shouldn't have
That's
any,
very
but
important.
like
Yeah.
nowadays it's like it's just idolatry in a sense. Like it's moved from Hollywood celebrities, now it's to entrepreneurs. And in both cases, like
That's an
those
interesting
are
point. Yeah.
dangerous. But anyway,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, this was not the intent. What are we talking about today, Mr.
First of all,
Bobby?
for hello everyone. The term I was looking for was en medias res.
Oh,
I attribute it to Shakespeare, but it's actually Homer who started it
I was
first
gonna say that's not
with
English.
the Odyssey. That's the first. It says it probably started with the technique started with Homer in the Odyssey,
Hmm.
and then it was used in Macbeth. Shout out Lady Macbeth, Sleep No More, every time. But
If you listen to a
but yeah,
previous
but
episode, you know what that shout out is about.
yeah. That's what we call a callback in the industry.
Oh.
And so, how are you? How was your week, Chris?
Dude, I'm good, man. Before we were talking about this off camera, I've been learning about marketing and branding, two subjects that I never really had deep interest in, and they make me feel a little dirty sometimes when I read it and learn about them. So yeah, that's what led us into the beginning of this conversation that you the listener stumbled upon.
Yeah,
But other than that, dude, it's good. Can't really complain. Was in New York last weekend. You weren't there, but caught up with
yeah.
some of our fellow comrades in arms. Had some donuts, had a slice of pizza, drank a little too
That's mad
much.
that you ate donuts, late night donuts. I
They were not as late as like it wasn't too. That was no. We had them at maybe like 7 or 8.
Oh, I thought
Nah, dog.
you after the bar you went. It's like let's go get
No,
some
man.
donuts. Who craves donuts at
No, because
3 in
we
the
were
morning
at Flannery's and Donut Pub is right next door. So I was like, dude, Andrew, go get us some donuts. Andrew comes back
with a
and
box of donuts?
with like a bag. We made 2 trips, and he pulled out this delicious like s'more donut that was just like in my inebriated state was amazing. It wasn't ambrosia.
Nice. Yeah, big up Vado, my guy.
Yeah,
You know.
but yeah,
Um,
dude. How about you?
So I missed that because I'm going to actually speak publicly on
What?
this for
Okay.
an issue, but I'm only going to give you a clue.
Oh man, you keep teasing
Chris, you might. Oh yeah, I'm tickling balls now. Only
me.
we're not going full on yet.
All right. It's
And
foreplay.
yeah, exactly. If you watch Good Will Hunting, which I'm sure you have,
Yes. Oh
the
no.
answer is in Good Will Hunting. That's all I'm gonna say. That's your hint. You may figure it out, but I'll
Do you
tell you
want me to
eventually.
say on camera or
Nah.
no? All right.
But
All right.
Good Will Hunting is the clue for everyone.
Oh, dude,
listening.
there's so many aspects of this movie that I'm like, okay,
It
like
could be, yeah.
there's a lot of
Good Will
Easter eggs
Hunting
here.
is the clue. That's the
I
clue.
kind of want to just cancel this episode and ask you what's going on, man.
Nah.
Is it is it like are you
I'm
pointing?
not
me to
answering any questions.
man.
Don't do it. Don't do
Oh,
it. Don't
man.
do it.
Woo.
So yeah,
Woo.
but the answer is in that wonderful film.
Oh,
One of my
man.
favorites.
Oh
Yeah.
man, so many interesting things there.
So
I kind of want to like do the
yeah.
the Ben Affleck where he's like, every morning I wake up.
Yeah, I
knock
wish
on
you
your
wouldn't
door.
show up. Yeah.
I wish you weren't there.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
it's like it could. You see what I'm saying? So you're already
I'm
you
on.
already
I
found
know.
the first breadcrumb.
I
You
know. I
already
got it. I know
you
where this is going. But anyway,
you
go
already
ahead.
found the first
Ladies
breadcrumb.
and gentlemen, if you haven't listened to, if you haven't watched Good Will Hunting, that is like if Matt Damon and Ben Affleck had never done another thing after that,
It's still been
their
fantastic. Yeah.
mark in Hollywood would be forever laid. It'd be done. That's probably the best thing. It is kind of that is the downside of peaking too early. That's probably the best thing they ever did,
hmm And
and they did
they
it when
won.
they were like,
They won awards for the writing portion. The film I don't think won Best Picture, but
I think they might have won I think they
they've
might
won
have.
multiple writing awards for it, which I respect more than the acting part. Actually, they won Best Screenplay, Best Original Screenplay, because that's a totally original film, which is very rare these days. Most things are adapted now.
Dude, do you know who directed that movie? I didn't realize it till right now.
Was it Affleck?
No, it was Gus Van Sant.
Oh yeah, I
Very
should have known
random.
that. I should have known that. Yes, I knew that.
There's a
Why
comedian
can't I
that
remember?
throws some shade on this movie. He's like, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck did not write this. This was ghostwritten. They're like, this is too good for these two
No, they
jamokes
did.
to.
They
That's
did. They did right.
so the story goes. But yeah,
Yeah,
great movie. Great movie. If you haven't watched it, it's fantastic. You should watch it.
yeah.
Uh,
Rest in peace, Robin Williams. Rest in peace.
oh man.
Uh,
Yeah, true.
uh,
But go ahead.
so,
Go ahead.
but yeah. So my week, I'm so exhausted during the holidays, man. It's such a hard week. I get injuries. I get like I pick up some minor injury every week.
Getting cut up.
Cuts, jammed fingers, and all this. Yeah, knackered to use an English term.
Yeah.
I'm knackered every Thursday night, so I just sleep like a baby until Friday morning, and then that's when. But I can't fully enjoy the weekend now. It's getting to the point. It's just really with this season
Yeah.
where it's so busy. Where even now talking to you right now, I'm thinking about I gotta be at work at Sunday and it's gonna be fucking crazy.
Mm.
So I'm already thinking about it. So I don't have the mental peace of mind, which is priceless. But
Dude, do you think? I just want to.
ahead.
We don't have to go deep, but like I've thought about this the other day. Like, do you think you would enjoy like peaceful manual labor? Like, I'm like imagine if you like. I'm thinking like old times where you were like, I don't know, a farmer is a good one where it's like there's no one really telling you. It's like you just know you got to go farm, and then it's your whole day. Like you're just farming. I don't, you know what I mean? It's not like you got a boss yelling at you, or there's like the stress of like a customer. It's just like you do manual labor all day, and then you go to sleep, and you wake up, and then
And
you know,
you do it again. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. It like like just like picking fruit from a garden and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Like old. Well, that it's not old school. They still do it. But
I guess the grass is
yeah.
always greener because maybe you do that, and you're like, this is just
Yeah, but being an actual farmer,
that's a hard job.
that's hard.
It's a
That's
hard job.
But I wouldn't mind just being the guy. It's like what we talked about. This just popped in my head. They remember when we talked about what era we wanted to live in ideally, and I said the 20s and 30s. But I don't want any responsibility. I just want to be the guy at the party in the background having fun. I don't want to be the guy hosting the party because then you got to think about everything. Then you got when's the food coming out? This person is complaining about this dish. We got to get the entertainment going. The band has to come on. Then the dancers. Like I don't want that.
Yeah, you
I
don't want to
just
be Great Gatsby. You want to be like Great Gatsby's best friend.
I want to be the guest at the Great Gatsby party. Yeah.
So do we all.
Yeah. but financially it's better to be the host, and because those are the main players in the game. But
Yeah.
which we'll get to. Segue time.
Da-da-da.
CEO, United Healthcare CEO. So you may know more of the actual detailed facts.
I probably don't. I know you did a deep dive. I mean, and when
No, but
Bobby A, when Robert
did the
A
conspiracy side
does
though.
deep dives, like he does deep dives. You are again. I go back. your Mulder meets like the three guys that live in like the trailer and do all of his legwork. You're kind of a hybrid of them,
The lone gunman.
the
Yeah.
lone gunman.
Yeah.
But
So
no, yeah, break it out, like, because you've probably done more research on this. I have topical because it's all over like social media, so I'll see it, I'll read it, but like it's hard to kind of like filter through. Like, again, like Twitter is like reality, and it's like a hallucination. It's hard to determine what's true and what's not true there.
mm,
But
so
go ahead, go ahead.
there's a it's funny that you mentioned the X-Files because the CEO's name is Brian Thompson, and
What is okay?
he's the CEO of United Healthcare, but he started at Price Water Cooper, which is like a counseling finance firm,
Hmm.
and his name his name Brian Thompson shares the same name as an actor called Brian Thompson, who is in the X-Files, who played an alien bounty hunter. So any X-Files fan out there, you'll know who I'm talking about. He kind of looks like a B Tech Dolph Lundgren, like a lower
Yeah,
grade Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, look him up. You'll
yeah. No,
you're
it's
like
funny
sure.
because like when you
Yeah,
Google Brian Thompson,
he
both
comes up first,
those are
right?
the two things that come up.
Yeah,
It's like on the
yeah,
right is the actor who, if you've seen him, you'll know who you like. You've seen him in many things. He always plays
you,
kind of like a. He's played many like
yeah, like a bounty
evil characters,
hunter, a
bounty
criminal.
hunters,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, barbarian. But go ahead, keep
Exactly.
going.
So so that struck me initially. It's like, oh yeah, there you go. Because I was like, I recognize that name. So then, as everyone knows, who got arrested? What's his name? Luigi Mangione. He's
Yeah,
Italian,
he's an Italian guy, Italian
Italian
kid.
American, Italian American from the rich suburbs of Baltimore. But then, uh, and he had the classic rich kid lifestyle, prep school. He's from Towson, Maryland. So I know a couple people from Towson, Maryland, and I know a couple people that went to I believe it's called the Gilman School, which is it's like what's the movie Cruel Intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Cruel Intentions, like the think about the classic teenager rich kid prep school. That's where he went, and then he went to Pennsylvania University. So then he moved to Philly and went to an Ivy League school. So you can kind of see the background he has. Everything is screams, I'm a billionaire's son.
Yeah.
And his family is an Italian American family that's very wealthy and very well known in Baltimore and in the DC area.
Yeah, and
So
just for those listening, we're talking about
the
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 suspect
suspected
that
killer,
was arrested for the
Luigi
murder.
Mangione. But go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, correct. So Brian Thompson's background is different. He went to Iowa. He lives in Minnesota now. That's why what's her name? Um Globichar, Amy Globichar came out and spoke about him because I guess she knows him, and Tim Waltz also knows him too because he lived in Minnesota and he was a big donor for their campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
So you see where I'm going with this. Oh, I got the back end stuff.
Mm.
I'm not into the scandal. I think you know more of the front end facts.
Yeah,
Where
I mean, I just know, like, I know, I'm also, as you talking, I'm kind of pulling up some of the just like the highlights that have made it their way to Wikipedia for whatever Wikipedia is worth. But yeah, go ahead, keep going. I mean, like
okay, we
anyone
got
who's honestly like we're preaching to the choir because I think like at this point, if you're all on social media, this is completely covering everything. This is like supersedes the drones in New Jersey that people are talking about. This supersedes like anything to do with like politics or Trump. This is
yeah,
kind of like taking up all of like the internet bandwidth, which is
yes,
interesting in and of itself. But go ahead, keep on.
yes. So
Yeah. So what are some of the
there's
so
more.
just
There's more. So here are the angles.
so hold on before you go into, I guess we, for those who maybe don't know what's going on, which I doubt, but just so you have the CEO of this major insurance provider, United Healthcare, who a few days ago, let's actually have it the exact time, December 4th, he was in New York for a meeting for United Healthcare, like an investors meeting. So all the investors, the main key investors from all over the world, came
Yep.
to New York and were having this meeting at the Marriott Hotel.
No, he was staying at the Marriott. The
I'm
meeting
sorry, yeah, correct. It was
was
at
at the
the Hilton, the New York Hilton
Hotel.
Midtown.
So
And
just think of the names. I gotta cut you off.
yeah,
So
go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead.
So think of the names of those two places. So you got the Marriott, and then the Hilton is involved. We all know about the Hilton family,
Interesting. Yeah.
and there's like you said, there is an early morning meeting of investors from all over the globe that came in for this medical insurance conference, or some kind of strategic meeting. I don't
Yeah, they
even
call
think
it.
it was a conference.
I think it was an
Events.
annual. So this is an
Yeah.
annual meeting with investors. So it's not like something crazy's coming up. It's like an annual thing.
Okay, so here's where it gets
Well,
interesting.
hold on.
I'm
So
not.
then, just like he left, just to kind of make sure we have the details. He
Yeah.
left his
Go ahead.
hotel, the Marriott Hotel, where he was staying, which Rob said, and which was across the street.
Yeah.
So from the
Midtown
New
Manhattan.
York the Hilton Midtown, where the meeting was at,
Mm-hmm.
and as he was walking along 54th Street towards the Hilton, so we're not like he's not walking for a long period of time. These are like two locations very close to each
It's
other.
like a 2-minute walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says around 6:45 a.m. local time, so Eastern time. He was shot from behind by by some assailant with a pistol, and then was taken to the hospital and died shortly after. So that's like the details that are kind of like beyond any like dispute, right? It's like here's a guy, he was in town for this meeting. He was in a hotel. He crosses the street or is walking, to another hotel where the meeting is going to be held. And a guy in a hood came up to him with a pistol and shot him from behind,
With a
and
silencer attached to it.
with a
Yeah.
silencer attached to it. And then shortly after, that man passed away. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So yeah. Before, like, I'm glad you said that, because those are the concrete facts.
Yeah, like that's
Now,
beyond. I think that's beyond doubt. No skepticism around that. Like those are
yeah.
the hard facts.
So we got to be careful here, because what I'm going to say is speculation and alleged from what I know. This
Yeah.
is not, nothing you're going to hear from now on is going to be concrete evidence that we know of now. It may slowly trickle out, but as of right now, this is all conjecture. But maybe it's not. So here's why. So the Hilton Hotel, obviously owned by the Hilton family, but it's a place where NYU holds a lot of, so New York University holds a lot of it. This is where I said it comes, like, I have intimate knowledge of this. So the Hilton Hotel holds a lot of big NYU events. It could be a parties, like maybe the end of year, like the senior year end of year party is always at this place as well, in the ballroom of this same exact Hilton. The police commissioner, her name is Jessica Tisch, the NYPD police commissioner. Her grandfather is the art school at NYU is named after her grandfather, Leonard Tisch. So it's called the Tisch School of Arts. So anyone who wants to act, music,
Mm.
music theater, anything of that nature, like theater or acting, Steinhardt would be the music. Where if you want to like actually hone your skills as a musician, it would be Steinhardt. But Tisch is for acting, film writing, like anything involved in the entertainment, like television and film or theater business. So you have the police commissioner, who's the granddaughter of this. Because when I saw her name, I was reading and I saw her press conference, and I was like, Tisch. I was like, I beg she's involved in Tisch School of Arts. So I
Mm.
started digging into her past. Her mother, her mother, her mother's father is what the damn school is named after, dude. And NYU has a lot of events there, so I'm wondering. Once again, I'm saying this is speculation, but and then you have someone called Marion Nestle. Also, she works at NYU now. Yeah, see, this is just it's giving me
So what are
goosebumps.
you getting at though?
It,
What
the,
is the
I'm
pull the thread?
getting at the fact that so he was going to this meeting at a place that has heavy ties to New York University,
Mm-hmm.
and during the course, I believe during the course of this, in May, let me pull up the article this because I want to get this right. Um, the article for Brian Thompson is in 2000 in 2004 in May of 2004 the Department of Justice started investigating him.
Oh, okay. So you're
And so
tying
yeah,
us into the insider
yeah,
trading allegation.
correct. So
Okay.
yeah, so you know that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so but for anyone who doesn't know, there's an insider trading aspect of it, and where the DOJ was looking into why he sold 120 million worth of United Healthcare stock. Now, the reason behind that is some say Nancy Pelosi was involved in that because she also does a lot of regulations with Wall Street in the financial sector,
Yeah.
and Nancy Pelosi has ties to NYU as well. So I wonder, this is just, once again, I'm wondering this. Why is NYU so heavily involved with United Healthcare, and why is it taking place at that specific place? I don't know. All right. So I think there's more to that than meets the eye, but I can't. There's nothing I can prove. So what in terms from what I know personally about the school, having attended it, is there's a lot of main players in the insurance and financial sector, especially because of the Stern School of Business, which is one of the most premier business schools in the world. I, so what you said pull the thread. This is what I'm proposing. I think this wasn't just a random act of I don't like this insurance company, I'm gonna murder this man.
Yeah.
This might be a hit.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting.
That's
Yeah. I
that's the
mean,
main point.
it's definitely interesting. Like, if you go to haven't seen this, but if you go to Wikipedia, they actually have the CCTV footage
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the killing. Um,
I don't want like watching stuff like that. I
I mean,
wouldn't watch it.
it's like it's not so close, so it doesn't have that kind of visceral effect. Um, but you see it, like, I didn't realize that. So I mean, there's everyone talking about this. Like, I guess we're just kind of like anything else, jumping on like a current event, but it definitely is interesting. Like, I mean, a couple things that stood out to me when I was kind of following it, and then I've listened to some other people who kind of like are trying to interpret and do what you're doing, like pull the thread. The one thing that's kind of interesting is like, yeah, I don't think it was obviously not random. So like I think that guy was the intended target, whether the person, let's just use Luigi since he's the guy that was caught. Let's say the masked man. So
Yeah.
whether the masked man was like a hired hitman, or like he had let's say a vendetta, or some was motivated by some means, I think he hit his intended target. So it wasn't random in that
Yeah.
respect. Like, this guy was targeted. It's interesting that the guy chose to do this in the morning on a somewhat busy street in New York. That's just like kind of odd to me. Like, the more I think about it, I'm like, you're in Manhattan at 6:45 in the morning.
It's rush hour.
It's people are going to work. Like,
Yeah.
you got to think, like, for those of you listening, like, maybe you start your day at 9, but there's a whole world of people who start their day at like 5 and 6
Yeah.
a.m.
It
Right?
was a Wednesday morning, so
Yeah, so it's
everyone's
middle
going.
of the week, so you got all the cabbies are out, all the guys pulling out like the coffee stands and like the paper stands, and
Oh
all,
yeah, New York is buzzing by 6:45 in
and
the
you're in a
morning.
busy area, like what is this, West 54th? What can you find the avenue?
I know where it is because I know where that I've been to that hotel.
Is that
There's
seventh?
It's 54th Street between Fifth Avenue and Sixth Avenue.
Oh, so there you go. Like, you're like in this is high traffic area, high end hotels,
Highest. Yeah.
right? Like, so that's kind of was like, that stood out to me. It's kind of odd. Like, all right, so you know your target, you knew where he was going to be, you're following him. It's interesting that you chose like that time, that place. Um, it's also kind of interesting that you did it right in front of a camera that caught, like, literally caught everything. Like, it's right there, as if like a director had like staged it and did
Yeah,
all the marking. Like, it's kind of interesting in that respect.
yeah,
It's kind of
and
interesting that the guy didn't have a bodyguard. I would think he would have a bodyguard, but I don't know. Maybe not. Um, I don't
maybe
know.
because the hotels were so close together, he thought I'm just gonna pop across the street.
Yeah,
Who?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know how people at a certain levels operate. Like, I would imagine Elon Musk. I use him as kind of just a placeholder, but like someone like a Joe Rogan, he would. I'm pretty sure he would not leave that hotel without his, like. Joe Rogan portrays himself as the everyman, but that guy, you can find photos. He has like a team of like 3 or 4 bodyguards. Like, Elon Musk has like 6 guys that are with him. So like that's interesting as well, to me at least.
Yeah, that he was
Um,
just by himself. Yeah.
yeah, he's just by himself.
Eh,
What else? What else stood out to me about this? Go ahead.
So what else was interesting is, yeah, all those are also peculiar. I agree. It also, this Luigi guy said, or he didn't say, he's on camera right before it
Yeah.
at a Starbucks.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know this.
And he's on I don't know which Starbucks he went to. I don't know the location, but it had to have been nearby. And he was dressed up in all like a tactical gear, and he's in a Starbucks, and they caught him on camera. But the you can only see um, a certain a certain part of his
Yeah,
face.
yeah. I've seen this
So
picture.
yeah,
This is the
yeah.
picture that's been floating around where you see like his nice smile. You really can't see his eyes. You see his nose. You see the bottom of his mouth. He has his hood up,
Now
but
I
like,
think that one was at the McDonald's that he went to afterwards. I
no,
think
this is the one. But
this is the
anyway,
Starbucks.
yeah,
All
this
right.
is because it's the one where they think he was like flirting with like a barista or something. I don't know. It's like all this conjecture. But
Yeah,
anyway, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So Starbucks and McDonald's are also involved because I forgot the order in which he went because
Starbucks, then McDonald's.
yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so um, it is interesting that he had, um, like you said, that he had a sign. So what I want to say is, I think this is, in my opinion, this is less than one man. Obviously this is a well thought out plot. Maybe he had something against insurance companies in general. Maybe he was screwed over by United Healthcare, which we'll get to. Speaking of Elon Musk, we'll get this another branch of this tree.
Mm.
Uh, I think he was he was commissioned to do this. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't just him acting alone. Well thought up plan, obviously, step by step, intricate plan. But I think it wasn't one person doing this. It wasn't just him going basically rogue. He was commissioned to commit this. So
Yeah, I mean that's like, so like, what's floating around the ether is, right, like, like anything that happens, it's, then you have 1,000 people who really don't know anything just kind of trying to comment. Uh, but it does seem like, which we're doing, um, yeah, like that's one of the big things. Like, this is not a random thing. This is like, you go down the conspiracy rabbit hole. Like, was a hitman. That's the one thing. This was an orchestrated attack. This is maybe like a government, like he was brainwashed to do this. He's the fall guy. Like, he's not actually the one that did it. He's just the guy who's getting like kind of like thrown to the wolves. You hear that is kind of something. I mean, it is interesting, like, to me at least. So like, another detail of this is that the gun itself was 3D printed, which is kind of interesting. They call it a
yeah.
ghost gun. So it consists of a 3D printed lower receiver, right?
So it's not detectable or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's yes and no. So like, the part of the gun will be plastic, and you can print it with a 3D printer. You still need a metal slide. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, you could break it up, get all of the plastic pieces through any number of, security checkpoints, and then, hide the other pieces and kind of formulate the gun. Um, So that's kind of an interesting little detail.
It
There's some
is very interesting.
guys on Twitter who kind of talk about the gun setup, who are like gun guys, and they talk about um, the piece that he used and some of the ways he used it. Some of the gun guys I kind of have followed are like, this is not like, they kind of poo pooed the idea that this is like a trained hitman. Before they had even caught this Luigi guy, they're like, no, like we can see how his behavior is, and we can see that this is not like a trained assassin per se. It is interesting though, like how he got caught, right? Like, you think he pretty much, given the fact that he's on camera and that he is, pulling off a hit in the daytime, in the morning on a busy street of New York City, got to PA, and then just so happened to be identified by a McDonald's employee who then called the police. Kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, kind of interesting. I don't know, like that
It's
a
wild.
McDonald's employee is paying that close attention to a person that they're talking to for what, 30 seconds?
Yeah, I know, and he's in some sections of the internet that I've swam through. There, he's some kind of a hero. He's
Well,
being,
we can talk about that. That's an interesting
yeah.
pivot to that. Like, go into that, because that's something I'd like to talk about.
But before that, before we get into that, because that could get long, that I want to talk about how the Elon part that I alluded to earlier. There's he implemented. So this Brian Thompson guy was responsible for UnitedHealthCare integrating a artificial intelligence claim system that denied most claims. So he installed, or he was the person that was responsible for giving the okay to install an AI software
Yeah.
into the claims system that denied most insurance claims. So everyone had to. It's basically a war between sick people and these insurance executives. He's instituting some kind of, I don't even know what you want to call it. Like it's like a but like purposely a bug that
Uh
that'll deny claims even if they're legitimate. So
so
that was
how
part
does
of
that,
motivation.
tie into Elon Musk? Make the
Just just
connection.
just just the AI part of it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can find this. So I don't want to go into deep detail myself, because I do have some kind of, like, randomly, I do have experience with AI and healthcare, from
Yeah.
previous roles. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but
Yeah.
let's see. I'm looking again. I'm looking at Wikipedia, and like Wikipedia, you gotta like take with a grain of salt. So
Yeah.
alleged company knowingly employed an AI model that had a 90% error rate.
Yeah,
Interesting.
like
Interesting.
it was a phony system so that it would block 9 out of 10 insurance claims.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
that's kind of, so it's kind of interesting with, I think with a lot of these with claims. So like, I worked for a company at one point that kind of was in this space, right? I don't like, there are some legal aspects, but I think again in a lot of like, so like, I think with a lot of healthcare and insurance claims, it's like there's a game that takes place where it's like, because a denial is not a necessary, it's not like the final say. Like, it's like in anything else, right? Like in most cases, if most people are not going to push, right? So it's like if you go buy something and you want to return it, let's say you call up, you buy it online, and they're like, well, we don't do returns or whatever. Most people, they're gonna be okay, fine, it is what it is. But like, if you push, good chance you're gonna get what you want. So I think kind of like with a lot of insurance stuff, it's like a denial is not necessarily the end of it. If you have to now support it with more documents, but it's going to like make the process longer. And for a lot of people, I think they're just like, F it. Like, I'm not going to keep, right. It's like a game of endurance. Do you
War of
follow what I'm
attrition.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. War of attrition. So it's like, all right, by doing that, it's like, let's say that's 100 claims. 9 of them have been auto denied. Maybe of that 9, 4, half, let's say 4,
Yeah.
uh, are like, fine, whatever, we're denied. The other four are going to say, no, 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 no. What do you? Okay, no,
No,
we're
I'm
gonna
gonna
fight
take
this,
action. Yeah.
right? But you already cut in half. That's four.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
half
It's
that you just know for a fact you're not going to pay
yeah.
them out on.
I see what you're saying.
You're
So
right.
financially, it works better for the insurance
Yeah,
companies
it's
if
just
we
like
just
making the
cut up.
process more difficult in a
Yeah.
sense. Which is
Yeah.
that's crazy though.
Which
I'm
is crazy
surprised. I'm
because it's
surprised that
intentional.
that didn't get caught earlier on because like all that stuff is calculated. Like you would think that would have gotten caught, which is nonsense. But anyway, so do you think so? Like, let's pivot on that because that's like so you have that you have this idea of the insider trading. Do you think, just as a random person, do you think that this is like a guy who, um, I don't know, man, felt whatever, like righteous indignation and like identified this Brian Thompson as like, all right, you're the head of the dragon, I'm taking you out, or had some type of personal issue? I think that's been alluded to. Or do you think
Hmm.
that that's like all subterfuge and like the real thing is like some type of illicit money transaction that this death is kind of covering up?
I definitely think it's the latter
Mm.
because I think the what you previously described is all like a subversion tactic to keep your mind off. But I mean, anyone who listens to this program knows that my mind is, I wouldn't say cynical, but it's very suspicious.
No, I mean,
So
I get it.
yeah,
That's like out of
yeah,
a TV show or a movie, right? It's like the
yeah.
young guy, the handsome young guy, and like, right, he
But the
does fit like a movie, he's like a character in a like a scripted television show, like
yeah,
24, the handsome 130 IQ Ivy League valedictorian who then performs a hit on like a CEO of a $1 billion company. It's kind of like someone could have written that story.
yeah. But
It's been written.
that's bang on because he for sure has within his network of all the people he knows. Look at his education background.
Yeah.
Look at his family background. I know people like that. I know Italian Americans from that area that have wealthy parents. I went to school with them at NYU. They, I know what who they I know the caliber. I'm not going to say specifically, but I know the caliber of people they know. So
Yeah.
he has access to people that he can speak to, or he can be tapped by someone that of major decision making authority
But why would he
in the
do it?
that's a then now
Right?
we're getting
It
to the
comes down
moral
to the
side of it.
why. Cause well,
Yeah.
not even that, but like let's say it's the money is the issue, right? Like this is all cover up for something like illicit. But why would he be willing to sacrifice? I mean, his future is done. He ain't gonna get out. Like what, you know what I mean? Like
Maybe he was
he
yeah.
killed someone, like he
It's a
murdered
good question.
someone. It's first degree murder. Like you're on camera. There's no way out of that, right? Like you're going to jail and you're going to go to jail for a long time. Like your life is done. Your life is over.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's the part that still confuses me. Because he doesn't need money. Maybe it was a promise of something that was not really like monetary based. I don't know, but
Blackmail?
you could be. Maybe there's skeletons in his closet. That's a good point.
Yeah,
But
it's
he
interesting.
this he clearly is not hard up for cash. So it's not a money thing. It's not like going to someone and dropping like 200K on the table and be like, "Yo, do this. Here's the money right now. You'll get the other half when you finish it." So it's not that. But yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, Chris. What do you think? I think it's a promise of something that needs to be kept secret. If you were
Yeah.
to ask me the question. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Again, like all my biggest takeaway is that I just feel like we live in movies now. Like and it's almost like because we've all consume so much media and so many movies and so many TV that like even in conspiracy, right? Like even if someone is pulling like this is a legit conspiracy, they plan out the conspiracy based off of movies. Like it's part of the unconscious at this point. So like it is kind of interesting when you see these things happen. You're like, it's hard not it's hard not to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole because it almost looks like something you've watched before. It's too clean to just be like, this is obviously not random, right? And again, is it just because you felt a certain way? So like I don't know. Like I'm kind of very surprised and curious. I listened to one guy who was commenting on this, who's like a journalist, and his whole thing was like, this is all to take people's uh like mental mind, like their focus away from like politics and the government and what's going on there. Because now, like, if you go on Twitter, everyone is talking about this, and it's like
Mm,
now you're not paying attention to like let's think about what else is going on in the world right now. We have Syria, so we have a coup taking place.
yeah. You have
You,
Israel, Palestine still,
Israel and Palestine still going on. Ukraine,
Ukraine still going
Biden
on.
is like making all of these deals now, like more
Hunter
money.
Biden got pardoned.
Hunter Biden got pardoned.
Yeah.
More billions of dollars have been allocated to the Ukraine. We've
Yep.
also, before this, we sent missiles to be used by Ukrainians. Well, and in that, they're not using the missiles. They don't have the ability. So that means someone in America or the UK is the one actually manning and using those weapons. So like that's all going on like on the big map, and then this is taking place, and really like if you go on Twitter, this is the focus, this is what everyone is talking about. So I mean that, and also the drones in New Jersey, everyone's talking about that,
Yeah.
and this killing. So it is like I could see what that journalist is saying. It's like if you want to go down the rabbit hole, maybe that's a reason, like just the fact of like this is going to take up people's focus, and we still have time before Trump gets into office. A lot of bad things can happen between now and then. And like maybe that's like if you want to go deep down the rabbit hole, maybe that's the purpose. Just to, like it's a means of distraction. Maybe it's a couple birds with one stone. Maybe there's some money aspects to it, and also the fact of like, the media headlines, everyone's going to focus on this for a while. I don't know.
You know,
My
that's an excellent point because it could be you're going down the Eddie Bravo road now where he
Yeah.
says anytime that there's something geopolitical or even domestic in the world, something crazy like this happens so that everyone focuses on this.
And I don't even think that's a crazy idea anymore. Like I
It's
really don't. Like I think we've even seen it like a couple times in between the last year or so. The news would kind of like pop up with headlines regarding another virus. And it
yeah.
right? And it never took root. Like people kind of like have become so jaded by that they just ignored it kind of. But like other
Mm,
stuff was going on in the world, and I do think it's like an old strategy of like, I mean, it's like the illusionist, right? How does an illusionist make you think something disappeared? Well, they distract you with one hand
Sleight
while
of hand.
they make the thing disappear with the other.
Yeah.
And I think that's like old hat government strategy, right? Like if we want to do something, we got to get everyone's eyes away from it so we can do it the way we want to do it. So what do we need? We need to distract the populace with a pending virus or drones that no one knows their origin, or kind of you know
UAPs.
an assassination that's taken
Yeah.
from the script of a 24 episode, right? While we do some big things over here in the corner.
That's a good point, Chris. I never thought about it from that angle until you just raised it now. Maybe this is because what do people, especially in America, they love true crime stuff.
Yeah,
They love UAPs, which is probably the drone. So people probably think it's aliens. Let's have it right. I
yeah,
know. I know
yeah.
because I'm in that world. Uh, I haven't even heard about the New Jersey drones. Have you seen one?
I have not. That's what I'm saying. I have not. And I see some of these subs that are just like specific South Jersey, and they're like, guys, are you seeing these things? I haven't seen anything, but it's all over Twitter. Um,
Um, oh,
so,
dude, I would get so excited if I saw one. I would demand that we go investigate it on the
but
spot.
but again, it's like right, and then also there was the recent conference about UAPs, like
Yep.
right, and now you just start seeing a bunch of UAPs all out of nowhere. It's like again, sometimes things are what they are, and sometimes again it's like it's an illusion, and the reality is much more base and ordinary. Like we're gonna make you look over here while we send $100 billion to the Ukraine, while we start a war with Russia that Trump is going to have to deal with, and we as citizens are going to have to deal with the consequences of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But in to your point, I'm gonna put another.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
And then
gonna.
I want to talk a little bit about the sentiment of the killing too, because I think
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
I
But
agree.
go ahead.
So remember when we did the congressional hearing conversation about and
Yeah,
the director of that committee in Congress is Nancy Mace. So to your point, one day ago, yesterday, uh, someone apparently accosted her, and they they arrested someone, so someone is in custody of attacking her on Capitol Hill, and this was 2 weeks after she had the hearing about the you with what's his name, the journalist, and the military guys.
yeah, the Michael
Yeah,
Schellenberger
yeah,
and the
exactly.
two other guys.
Yeah, Elizondo. So um, interesting that once I said I liked her because she looks like she's kind of cool. She got attacked yesterday, and someone got arrested. So what are we doing here? What's going on? Just,
Dude, I really don't know, man. The world's getting like so. Like, you're a Twitter user. I'm not. I just started kind of going on it, and like the most interesting thing I find about it is like if you live in that space, I do believe it can make you go insane. Like I actually like I'm about freedom of speech, but I can see how someone can make like a
yeah,
case
but
that
I can take it, as Gary Oldman said.
well, but yeah,
There's a
because
rare
because it can take it.
take it. Yeah,
But again, like if you
it's
can't,
a
right? Like there's no barrier to entry. So like if you can't, like or you're not good at kind of like weeding through like nonsense or lies, you could very quickly, I think, become kind of like radicalized via Twitter. Like I believe that. Like
oh, easily,
and
easily.
I'm not even like saying from what perspective. I'm just saying like in general, like whatever form of radicalization, you know, fill in the blank. You could because it's like it's how do I put it? Like Reddit, I'm a Reddit user. I'm a diehard Reddit user. The biggest thing I find that's different about it is like it's much more siloed, which I think is good. Like because it's group based, right? You join a group about a subject that you find interest, like that you care about, whatever that may be, sports, martial arts, cooking,
Mhm.
whatever. And like the conversations are to some degree going to be around that subject. And like there's definitely like shit talk and stuff that goes on, but it's a little bit more siloed. And it's also to more or less of a degree of like anonymity. Like you're not really there to promote yourself. If anything, it's the opposite because you're going to like, you might be part of subreddits so where you don't want people to know it's you in that subreddit. Right.
Mhm.
Whereas Twitter, it's all about you. Like people, it's them. It's their face for the most part. It's their face. It's their opinion. And like it's actually interesting that I think people behave worse in that case. I don't that's just my feeling like I think that like people get so riled up on Twitter and like if you're there in that space all the time, if you're really consuming it a lot, like your mind can get really, really warped really quickly, I think. That's just my takeaway. Like like with the Luigi thing, like just seeing like all of the crazy conspiracies and then also like I'm pivoting now, like just like the happiness that some people feel about what he did and all that. It's like, oh, this is kind of like the next Luigi will come out of consuming this content on Twitter. Like, think about that. Like, what people are saying and doing around this murder will eventually lead to the next murder that's similar. Like, the kid reading this, like, consuming this now, will be probably like radicalized by it, and someone else will get taken out in a similar light because of like being in that echo chamber and whatnot. Anyway, go ahead. I'm kind of rambling.
No, that's a good. I see what you're saying. That's kind of what I wanted to ask you. Uh, the fallout of this. So if you're a CEO of a major company now, you're on your toes. You better be on your toes right now because you just saw this happen in broad daylight
Yeah,
in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, which is
that's crazy to
the
me.
busiest
Again,
place to
like
be in New York City
that's
on a
not
Wednesday.
early. That is in
No,
plain daylight,
yeah,
like on a busy street. That's ridiculous. But go ahead.
yeah, and you're on your toes now because you're saying I can get whacked up. I can get whacked at any time.
Yeah,
So so what's the fallout going to be? Um do CEOs just need to, because this is actually good to circle all the way back to what you were saying in the beginning. Do entrepreneurs and CEOs need to step back a little bit from the limelight because they're getting a lot of limelight right now? They're in the spotlight. Do you want to take a step back and be more behind the scenes now that you know that at any point just someone can it can end at any time? That's kind of a crazy thought to have, but I don't know, man. If I'm running JP Morgan, I mean JP Morgan has loads of his executives.
yeah.
I'm not going outside for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, let's look at it from a couple different angles. That's a good question. So like one, let's look at it from like if you're a CEO, especially a CEO of like one of these legacy companies that kind of like doesn't have always the best reputation. So like insurance would be one, like probably some big credit companies would be two.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's certain like legacy industries that like the common man like has no love lost for, right? Um,
Yeah, like the more like the banks for mortgage lending and stuff like that. Yeah.
exactly. So like in those cases, yeah, man, like you're probably like, hey, like I need security, right? Like I need the security staff. I would imagine there's a lot of CEOs. Sorry, my dog is chewing on something, so I gotta stop her. Not chewing.
Yeah, no, but I see what you're saying. Like you're gonna need big time detail, and you're not gonna want to hold these in person public meetings at hotels.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
it's like I think I would almost guarantee the week after
Conference
this
call.
happened, a lot of CEOs were tasking getting security. Like I would almost imagine, like in the wake of this, a few hundred security like personnel have been hired
Oh
to
yeah. So
cover, right? Because again, it's like that is kind of crazy that like this guy just was walking down the street, not even walking far, right? It's not like we're talking about like he was in Greenwich Village and then he had to walk up to like 30th. You know what I mean? It's not like he's walking 10, 15 blocks. He's crossing the street.
it's all he did. You're
He
right.
can see the door he left from the next door he's going into.
Yeah.
Like that,
Exactly.
so like that's you would think that's safe, but like I think you're gonna see a lot of these guys are like no, like some of these hedge funds where like people have lost money and stuff like that. I would almost imagine a lot of these guys are like I need security now. Like I'm gonna need security. So that's one thing that's like I think definitely gonna be a result of this. I also would imagine like a lot of these companies are like they're a little frightened because if this becomes a trend, like if I was one of these guys, the two things I would be surprised and kind of worried about would be one, the fact that like okay, like that's kind of crazy. This is broad daylight. I need security. The second thing I would be kind of like surprised and worried by is the fact of like all these people are celebrating this guy's death. That's to me kind of like crazy. Like there you go, like this guy's become a meme.
Mhm.
His face has become a meme. People are happy. They are like fired up that this CEO got killed. And this
Mhm.
guy has become kind of like a hero. That would be terrifying. If you were a CEO of a company similar, I would be
Yeah.
terrified because that's scary to me.
No, you're right.
I don't even know, and I don't think that's good either. Actually,
No, it's not good. Definitely, absolutely not. I would never condone that. But
like this guy had kids. Like I don't. I mean, unless something comes out that he was like a like evil murder. Like I don't know. Like who am I? I can't really. I don't want to play moral things,
but the
but
the
you don't have a
justification.
right to just be like, I'm gonna go get a gun and shoot someone in the back, and like you make that decision myself. Like no, you don't have that
Yeah,
right.
yeah, agree 1,000,000%. But the justification for what I'm see for the people lauding him up to be some kind of a superhero is that this man was responsible for really sick and ill people not getting the care they needed, and they eventually passed because they couldn't afford, simply because they couldn't pay the money that it costs to get better. So that's where people, so they, you see we're in a, now we're in like a miasma. One of my favorite words, we're in a miasma of
Yeah,
morality. If
yeah.
this guy was responsible for hundreds of people dying all over the country because they simply because of the fact that they couldn't afford the health care based on his system that he implemented that denied their claims, is people are like, yeah, he deserved it, basically. I don't
So
know about that.
here's an interesting. Yeah, no, and I can understand the how a person would feel happy that that happened. Like I obviously, it's like when you see some of these dictators get overthrown, how the people are happy and they kill the guy in the streets. So like I get the that idea. Um, I one thing would be interesting to me is like um, it's actually in that company's best interest and probably a lot of other people that this CEO if what again all of what we're talking about right now with the AI model this nine I don't believe any of this has been proven. It's on Wikipedia. Like there's no link to like some corrupt. This is like I think it's still an accusation that people are have given to the company, right? So it's like I don't want to say that that's a proven fact, but if it is proven, it's actually in the company's best interest that this guy dies than if he had to go to jail or go through a trial. Because I would 100% guarantee, like in most companies, the CEO can't do something like in the dark that no one else knows about. Like, right? There are people on the board, people make decisions, people have to sign off on things. So, like when the guy dies mysteriously, it's now all of the consequence of that action, which let's be honest, padded probably many people's pockets more than just that guy. Uh Now he can be the black sheep, right? He can be the atoning lamb, right? It was all him. He did it. We didn't even know. We have no idea. I
Yeah,
don't even know how he
you
got
could
this thing to work.
yeah, you're right, you could stick in
Plausible
everything on.
deniability, and there's no one else who can say. It's not like he can deny that or be like, "No, they're lying." Like I have the proof. He's gone, right? So his voice will forever be silent.
That's why I think a, there's going to be a lot more that comes out behind this, because I don't think most I mean, I shouldn't even be trusting the mainstream media at this point after what we saw during the election. But the, if you watch the main news channels, everything is he was like a lone actor in, he's a very highly intelligent, intricate plot, but he was operating by himself. There's no way that's true. There's no way. I don't believe it. Not from what I've seen.
I mean, even if he is, it's just who knows? It'll be interesting to see what happens. Like, right? They keep bringing up like Ted Kaczynski. Is it Ted Kaczynski? Like the Unabomber,
Yeah, Ted Kaczynski.
right? I mean, he was a lone, for all intents and purposes, a lone gunman.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely within the realm of possibility. It is interesting that in this case, I think, right, like it would be better if that guy died than if he was like if this 90% denial thing was what is 100% fact. That's court cases,
Mm-hmm.
that will now never come to fruition because your main person is no more,
Yeah, the defendant is gone.
right?
So
So
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah, but the one distinction I would make where I disagree a little bit is
yeah. Go ahead.
Kaczynski. That's just an act of like domestic terror. This one was, I think, this is a calculated strike.
Well, correct. I
So
mean, one was like the goal was mass casualties in order to
yeah,
point to like a manifesto.
yeah,
This
correct.
is like a targeted attack. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it is different.
Mhm.
Um, but even the media is trying to connect the two. Like that guy was reading. I don't know. Again, it's interesting. It could all be a psyop. Like I have no idea.
Yeah, which is also, if you want to throw things in the ring, in the realm of possibilities,
Yeah.
that's in there too.
I mean, dude, the CIA. I mean, how many movies do we have of the CIA recruiting a young, handsome, intelligent Ivy League graduate? Like that's literally out of a movie. That's the
Yeah.
recruit with Colin Farrell. Like, come on, right? The
Yeah.
young, handsome guy who also has 130 IQ and
He
is
has
like
all
also
these
extremely
connections.
so smart. He's a data scientist. He knows how to code. Like, dude, it's
Yeah.
out of a movie. Like,
Yeah,
it is
very
out of a movie.
charismatic, likable connections,
Look at that
network, big network.
smile, right? He's on
Yeah.
Instagram. Like, it's just kind of an interesting. So that guy who has his whole life ahead of him gets an idea in his head that becomes so pervasive that he is going to do something that is going to then like change his life forever. Like, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Like, you plan
There's
out all of these pieces, you're able to execute this, and then you're caught in where were you? I don't know. I guess more will come out, right? More will
yeah.
come out.
We can probably end it here, but I'm gonna say it straight out. What does the Y files call it? The Shadow Masters. There's Shadow Masters involved in this. There's in my mind, there's no doubt.
I mean, I'm gonna throw this out there, and I hope I'm wrong, but like, if you find that this guy dies in prison before he's like arraigned, I would say conspiracy theorists run wild, because that to me would be the biggest nail in the coffin that this is a conspiracy, that there's something is hinky here if he just somehow mysteriously ceases to be, and that would
Yeah,
be frightening to me, actually.
yeah,
That'd be very disenchanted by that.
yeah. I couldn't agree more. And that made me think of the Diddy stuff. So he's back out. He's back out on the street.
Oh, is he?
Eh, I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, and
okay.
there's new stories that came out where three men came forward and described stories of what he did to them. And they had, I guess, I saw a segment on Chris Cuomo's show, News Nation show,
Mm-hmm.
where they had the lawyers of the of all the people that are suing Diddy. I think, or no, excuse me, I had that backwards. The He's the criminal prosecutor for all the people that are like, this guy did drugged me, assaulted me, etc.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I think he got let out. He might be under home arrest, but I don't think he's in prison anymore.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I think he paid I guess he posted the bail, which was an astronomical amount, um, and he he's still under supervision, obviously, but more stories are coming out. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to make of all this, man. Maybe that's another psyop to
Yeah.
distract everyone.
I don't know, man. I mean, my biggest thing is this: is like,
And then Jay-Z is getting involved. Did you see this?
oh, and I'm hearing like LeBron
Yeah,
James is off of
yeah.
social media, and
What's going on? What the hell is
he's
going
like
on?
retired. He's just kind of like, I think he's taking like a leave of absence from the Lakers
For
and
personal
or it's
reasons,
whatever team he's
quote
on.
unquote. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest takeaway is this, because like for those listening, we talk about random things. Like this is just, I don't want you to think that this is just like we talk about conspiracy theories and whatnot. Um, if you look at our back catalogs, we
Oh,
cover
there's tons of stuff.
a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. But I guess my biggest thing is this: is like what I'm hopeful about is that like we enter a period where like, dude, evil is not allowed to just like grow in the dark, like, and like it seems, unless these things are all turn out to be like a lie, that there's like when we know this, like there's a lot of like dark, I'm gonna use the word evil, I'm gonna say evil things happening in like in these different pockets of our like society. Like the whole Diddy thing, like I don't think it's a like, even if some of the stuff it turns out to be not true, there's probably some truth to it, because at the end of the day, there's all of these people who've like, they pull clips from back in the day where people have made comments. So like definitely something, there's some truth. It's, what I mean? There's somewhere in the middle is the truth, and the truth is that there's like some ugliness that took place in these venues. Maybe it's all consensual, maybe whatever, but it's like not good, right? Like there's something not good about it. And I think you're seeing like I would hope that you just see a lot of like darkness get like unveiled. To quote Cat Williams, like 2024, like the light is going to shine on all of the darkness. So I'm paraphrasing. Like I
Mhm.
hope that stuff kind of happens, because I think for a while, like I think this is true of all of human history, but like powerful people are able to essentially operate and do things that like the everyday person would find distasteful and like
Yeah, you're
evil, or just like distasteful, and like they're allowed to kind of do it without any repercussion because of like wealth and power. And if we like start like a 4-year 5-year decade where it's like, nah man, like it doesn't matter if you have power, like everyone is accountable, and I think that would be like a good thing. I don't know, go ahead.
no, you're you're right. And just so I fact checked myself on the Diddy thing. He was denied bail multiple times,
Damn.
but now he's under home confinement in the Upper East Side, so he's in New York.
Mm.
And 24th, look at these restrictions: home confinement at his residence in the US, 24/7 monitoring by 3 private security firms. So there's those guys who are going to get hired by the CEOs, um, and restricted phone access, and only family members and attorneys can visit him. So he's still kind of in jail. He can't do anything.
Dude, we should have a conversation one day about like maybe our differing beliefs on like the consequences of living like an abusive, evil life in this world, and like the potential consequences of those choices in the hereafter.
Yeah, that's good.
Because like here, people like that, I think there's some people like, if you don't believe in consequences, you just live like a demented god, and you leave a wake of carnage in your in your life, and you're like, all right, doesn't matter, like to the hero goes the spoils, to the powerful, they do what they want. But that's only if there's no consequences in the hereafter. If there's consequences in the hereafter, I think a lot of these people should be very worried.
yeah, that's a fascinating topic. I would love to talk about that. But yeah, I knew once you were going on that monologue, I like that because I knew you were to go to like the good versus evil portion of it, and I do. I'm as someone, I'll just straight out admit it. As someone who's lost my faith, I grew up Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
but I left the church and I became I became agnostic, basically. So I believe that the universe is God. I don't
Mm.
believe in actual God. So would that make me an atheist? I don't believe there is a God. I believe that we are all the universe is the God. I don't know what that makes me then.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So, but I do still within me still I truly genuinely believe that there is evil and good in the world, and the people that do good, we basically need to stick together, and they but like you said, there's a lot of evil, and evil kind of trumps good a lot of the time, which is very alarming to me, where evil always makes more money, because you get, I know I'm gonna go on a rant here. I'm gonna stop myself, but evil is always more financially beneficial. Like, just look at, we talk about it all the time. Look at the um, OnlyFans stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I find that morally reprehensible. But you have men and women that are making like $40 million a year doing it. So what does that say about human beings?
Mm.
That you can do that publicly on the internet for all the world to see, and don't think you can ever scrub that history. That's going to be online forever.
Mm-hmm.
You can instantly become a millionaire from it. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's all
mean,
I could say. I don't even have, I'm
nah,
speechless.
we can talk about it another time, but like, because this is a subject I find very interesting, and like I was thinking about it. It's funny that you're bringing this up. Like I was thinking about that this week, and I think it's the great. What is in the movie what is it called? The Usual Suspects.
The
In the
usual, yeah,
end,
yeah.
there's like that quote as like Kevin Spacey's walking off, and you find out that the villain of the story, the mastermind the whole time, was Kevin Spacey's character, who seems to be like the least of all the villains. And
Hmm.
as he's walking off, someone says, like, there's an old quote, like, the greatest thing the devil ever did was like to convince people he didn't exist, something along those lines.
I know the quote. It's the greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Yeah, and I think that kind of like there's some truth to that, like, in my belief system. Like I think there's like definite truth to that, because think about it this way. Like, I'm gonna, again, like, imagine that this is, so you're gonna live on this planet. Maybe you have 100 years, maybe 80 years. You know what I mean? But imagine, like, just for argument's sake, let's imagine that most religions, most belief systems believe that there's something else. There's like an eternity, whatever. We can debate on what that looks like. But let's just say, as a matter of fact, that there is one, right? Your 100 years amounts to very little when you look at it within the spectrum of like eternity. Or what is 100 years compared to a million years, right? It's a blink. And I think that one of the great psyops, let's say, call it that, let's say of evil, right, of the devil, is to make you think that this time here on this planet is all you have, and that you got to get what you can while the getting is good.
Bingo.
And when you think that way, pretty much you're willing to do and hurt anyone to get what you want. And that, to me, in the last, like, I guess the last couple of years, has been like a great realization, because you look at all these people and it's like all this time and this energy is being spent in uh, climbing the ladder of success, doing whatever you can to get where you can go, to be as wealthy as you can. And I fall victim to this 100%. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like, you think about it, you get on the top of the mountain, it's like you're still not going to be happy. Like, you're really not. Like, you're not going to, like, there's only so much food you can eat, right? There's only so many nice cars you can have. There's only so many beautiful women you can theoretically sleep with. Like, everything, this is my belief, and I think you can find it out, prove it.
Mm.
Everything eventually becomes boring, ordinary and ceases to give you the pleasure that it once did. And I think that's like the great psyop is like you are you have a feeling that some things will give you joy and happiness. You believe that this time is all you have, so you'll do whatever it takes to get those things that will give you joy and happiness. And then you find out in the long run that they really don't. And what have you done and who have you hurt to get them? And what if there's a consequence for that? So I don't know. We can talk about that in more detail another time.
Exactly. As someone who's done a lot of psychedelics and DMT, ayahuasca, I'm telling you, this is something that everyone. I'm not saying you need to think about this every day, but that's a very good thing just
You
to have
probably
in the
do.
back of your mind. Maybe
You probably
do,
should.
because we are eternal. And so to answer, you can end on the cliffhanger. I think, yeah, maybe I won't say it until we do the episode, but we just know that everything is eternal. So, like you said, this is just a fleeting pleasure right now.
Yeah, dude, it's a moment. It's a blink of the eye.
Yeah.
Ladies and gents, this was I'm glad for those of you who are listening. I appreciate it. If you do enjoy, definitely
yeah, we got into a lot of tinfoil. I was burying NYU in this, but there's some I know things. Yeah, but I'm not.
Yeah, definitely. If you like this, like and subscribe because it'll be shown to more people. And I would love you to drop a comment and just so we we know there's people listening. And if there's something you kind of like want to hear us, these two random dudes talk about, feel free to give us some ideas.
Yeah, and if you want to talk smack and chirp me or Chris, do it.
Yeah, feel free. Feel free. Feel free. All right, everyone, have a great night. Peace.
Later. Peace.